Welcome to Model 6 Pronunciation Lessons. So we're going to be talking about the relevance of diction, and we will talk about basic pronunciation lessons and techniques for better diction. The ability to pronounce words distinctly and clearly determines to a large extent how the audience members understand the information which is to be shared with the presenter. Now, there's what we call stress, which has to be placed on words, all right, on syllables. Stresses must be accurately emphasized at the relevant points in order to state exactly what the presenter means. Clarity of meaning is also an essence of good diction. Being a good presenter takes more than producing beautiful words. It involves the ability to exhibit great skill in presenting issues and ideas clearly in few words, so that the audience will understand at a go what the presenter is saying. Whatever is the case, tribal or foreign accent should be avoided in broadcasting. Each language has to be spoken according to its phonetic rules and nothing more. Anything short of this results to misunderstanding of the intention of the presenter and may become channel noise. The presenter should never attempt to speak in exaggerated manner. We've talked about this in some models, and of course this is a reminder. It should be noted that the aim of presentation is to express the thoughts or feeling, and the presenter should aspire to achieve the aim of presentation rather than constituting himself into a public or audience nuisance. So let's talk about some pronunciation lessons. One, pronouncing the sounds correctly. The most basic thing to get right is the sounds. If you get the sounds right, then you're free. You have less issues. You'll be able to pronounce words correctly. Depending on what language you speak, you might find some English sounds more difficult to pronounce than others. Now we have the TH sound, TH sounds. This TH sounds that comes at the beginning of something like think, TH, think. But it requires that your tongue would come in between the upper set of teeth and the lower set of teeth. So the TH sounds are difficult for many English learners. So you might need to pay extra attention to the what we call the feeder sound. All right, it's also pronounced the, like that. Oh, that's it. Okay, we have that sound in although or smoothly, and there's another sound that is the TH sound, the feeder sound in everything. Also, some vowel sounds can be challenging, like the O sound, O in although. Then we have the like in perfectly, perfect, perfectly. Finally, pronouncing sounds right isn't just about pronouncing single sounds. Sometimes sounds which are easy to pronounce by themselves can become a problem when you have to combine them with other sounds. For many English learners, the combination of the TH sound and O, for instance, in although, is difficult. Consonant combinations like the PL, right, in this word, planned, PL in planned, PL, planned, or the XP in expect, is XP in expect, are also challenging for some English learners. Finally, practice with longer words like smoothly, although, or rather. Again, say the words several times and start slowly to make sure you get the sounds right. In this way, you can improve pronunciation of English sounds which are difficult for you. Next, let's talk about stress and prominence. So, pronouncing stress and prominence, I'm guessing that most of you know what stress is, but some may not I'm guessing you may know what stress is, but you might be thinking, what is prominence? Prominence is similar to stress, but I'm going to use a different name because it's not exactly the same. And I think it's useful for you to remember that these are two different things. Stress is found in words which have more than one syllable. All right, like welcome, that has more than one syllable. For example, in the word everything, the stress is on the first E, the first letter, everything. All right, so if the stress is on the first letter, it comes from the rising tone down to the falling tone, everything. All right, in the word expect, the stress is on the second E. Okay, stress is fixed, it doesn't change. The stress in expect is always on the second E, the second letter E, which is A. Every time you say expect, you need to put stress in the same place. So what about prominence? Prominence means that the key words and ideas in a sentence are emphasized. It is similar to stress because you're pronouncing some words and syllables more strongly than others. Remember, you're pronouncing some words and syllables more strongly than others. However, it's different to stress because it's not fixed. Prominence depends on the sentence and the situation. The same sentence can have different prominent words depending on the speaker or the situation. You heard before that the prominent words in a sentence are the most important words and ideas. The prominent words are the words that carry the meaning of the sentence. Now, think of stress and prominence as two layers over the sentence. The first layer is the stress, which is fixed. The second layer is the prominence, which is flexible. You need to pronounce both together. The prominence might change, but the stress stays the same. Try reading a sentence in different ways. Change the prominent words. Also think about the question, how does changing the prominence change the meaning? Why would you make some words prominent and not others? So that's a question to think about. There are many possible answers. It's enough for now just to think about these ideas. This will already help your English pronunciation. So let's talk about weak forms, pronouncing weak forms. Weak forms are words which have different pronunciation when they are not prominent. For example, look at the word as, as. There are two. Okay? These words are not prominent. The pronunciation in this sentence will change. It is not as. It's is. The sure sound, there's a sure sound. All right, the uptone E and the Z. Sure sound, it's is. Not as. It's sure, is. Which other words in our sentence have weak forms? Could is definitely weak. The word could, C-O-U-L-D, is definitely weak. Its pronunciation changes from could to could. All right? From could to could. There are other words which might be weak forms. There's a gray area where it's hard to say if a word is definitely a weak form or not. For example, if you say the sentence very fast, the pronunciation of we, W-E, might change from we to we. All right? From we, the long E, to we. The pronunciation of hadn't might change from hadn't to hadn't, hadn't. All right? However, these changes don't always happen. You only use these weak forms if you're speaking really fast. For now, focus on the words which are definitely weak forms, like as, us, and could. Let's read the sentence with the weak forms. Although we hadn't planned everything perfectly, it all went as smoothly. Anyone could expect. As smoothly, anyone could expect. Weak forms are closely connected to stress and prominence. To sound natural in English, you need a clear contrast between syllables which is stressed and syllables which are weak or unstressed. Here is a tip. Make the contrast as clear possible. To do this, pronounce the stressed and prominent syllables more strongly and clearly. Pronounce the weak and unstressed syllables as fast as you can. All right? Now, let's talk about using intonation. Using intonation. Intonation is how your voice moves up and down as you talk, whether your voice goes higher or lower. However, in case you need more help, let's look at the intonation of this sentence in more detail. There are 6 basic intonation patterns in English. We have high, low, rising, falling, falling, rising, and rising, falling. Each of these can be used in different ways. For example, rising, falling intonation can be used to show excitement, surprise, or anger. Also, like prominence, intonation isn't fixed.